on 3A, and basically we're going to continue trying to figure out based on the Jules called the police. We're going to basically figure out this language of the Mishnah is bothersome because it says anybody who slaughters, if they slaughter, it's good. So that anyone who slaughters sounds like you can do it ideally, and if you do it, it's good. It sounds like you shouldn't do it ideally, but if you do it, it's fine. So that's what's going to be bothering. That's what's bothering us. We're going to have another 4 or 5, I don't know, 6 opinions, and then we're going to explain why each one didn't say like the other. So until now, we had the opinion that we're talking about somebody who is who's impure and wants to keep a level of sanctity, and that's who the beginning of the Mishnah was talking about. So 3a, Abaye. So Abaye argues. First opinion was Rabba. Yeah, it was Rabba Bar Ula. The first opinion was Rabba Bar Ula, and the second opinion is Abaye. Abaye Amar, 1, 2, 3, 6, 7 lines down for me, 8 lines. Amar Abaye, Hakikani, Hakol Shochtin. Anybody could slaughter. What's that referring to? Va'afilu, anybody is always including something. Anybody, including afilu kuti. Kuti is a group of people that converted. There was a war. They were scared they're going to get wiped out. They agreed to convert. And there's a big question that comes up in the Gemara in numerous places, are what the kutim are what they call geirei arayos. They only convert out of fear of lions, that they're going to eat it up, and therefore their conversion is no good. Or they're geirei emesim, or they are good converts. So I think right now we're assuming that their conversion is good. Now, the kutim were they were from the groups of people that they didn't believe in 100% in everything the Torah had to say. So, however, they were very meticulous in what they ate. So, if they're going to eat from something, you could assume that it was slaughtered properly. However, they disagreed with an interesting verse in the Torah that says you should not put a stumbling block in front of a blind person. Now, they took that verse literally. However, we take that verse to mean that you cannot offer somebody prohibitions. That's called putting a stumbling block in front of a blind person. You can't offer something. So, on the one hand, they were meticulous about what they ate, but they were not meticulous about what you eat because they don't hold that there's a problem with giving you non-kosher food. What's the problem? The problem is lifnei iver. They don't hold of that. So, b'med varmamurim. So when kid a kuti slaughter, b'med varmamurim kishi yisrael omeid al gabo. As long as a Jew is standing on top of him, not literally on top of him, but next to him, overseeing him. Aval yotze v'nichnas. If the Jew's in and out, like a mashkiach, he comes in, he leaves, comes in, leaves. So then lo yishchot. Then ideally you should not let him slaughter. The im shachat, if he does, so now we have to see. Chotech kizayas basar v'noselo. If he does slaughter, so you're a mashkiach, you're coming in and out. You come in, the guy already slaughtered. You missed your slot. You're supposed to come there before he slaughters, but you missed it. You're there after he slaughters. What do? You take the piece of meat, whatever, you cook it up, and you give it to him. V'noselo. So now, if the kuti eats it, they were very stringent about their slaughtering. So you can eat from his shchita. Lo achlo, if he refuses to eat it because he knows he messed up in the slaughtering, so then aser lechol mit shchitaso. So that's Abaye's suggestion at the beginning of the Mishnah. Hakol shokten is even a kuti as long as a Jew is watching him, standing there watching him. The next 2 words of the Mishnah. And if he does it, it's good. It means if a Jew is not overseeing him, but he's in and out, and he shows up after the slaughtering, so then it depends. If he's going to eat from the kazayas, if the kuti himself will eat from it, then you can rely. If not, not. The Mishnah continues, chutz, except for a cheirishot v'katan. A cheirishot v'katan, a deaf, mute, deranged, and a minor, that afil di avad nami lo. Even if a Jew's there, even if a Jew's there, it doesn't matter because Shema Yishu, Shema Yidru, Shema Yachlidu. Their shchita, no matter what, is not good because of either they waited too long, or they pushed too much, or they cut a pipe. They only cut one pipe. They cut under the pipes. So that's the next part of the Mishnah. Then the fourth part of the Mishnah, Kulan sheshachtu. So now we're going to have this question repeated over and over again. So this question we had it yesterday. It says that the Mishnah says Hakol Shok, then that's part one. Everyone can check. Part two is if they do it, it's going to be good. The third part is except for a deaf, mute, deranged, and a minor. That's part three. And part four is and anybody who shechs, and as long as someone's watching them, it's good. So this is Kulan Sheshachtu. If it's going on what immediately preceded it, such as the deranged, the minor, the deaf, mute, so then the language should not be V'kulan sheshachtu. It sounds like it's a new sentence now. V'kulan sheshachtu. So says the Gemara, it's going to say this 5 more times. Says the Gemara, ahai. This V'kulan sheshachtu, ahai. What's it going on? So now, Ilema, the most logical thing to say is, it's going on the line that preceded it. Ilema achei reshot v'katan. So Allah kai. Well then the im shachtami by you're talking about deaf, mute, the deranged, and the minor. You should say, and if they slaughter and someone is watching them, so then it's going to be good. But instead of saying that, you said, and anybody who slaughters, it's like you're starting again. So it's not going on what preceded it. Vim shachtu mi baile. So what must it be going on? It must be going on the first part of the Mishnah, which according to Abaye is talking about a kuti. So Ella kuti. And the end of the Mishnah says, if a Jew's watching them, then it's good. Says the Gemara, but you already said that. You already told me that even ideally, Hakol Shokten is going on. Even lechatchila, ideally, if a Jew's watching the kuti, it's good to go. So if the last part of the Mishnah which says, and if they already slaughtered and somebody was watching, then it's good, is going on that first case, then it's incorrect because the first case says even ideally you could let a kuti slaughter. But the last part of the Mishnah sounds like if they did it and a Jew was watching them, then it's good. Sounds like post facto it'll be good, but not ideally. So that last part is a kasha. That's a kasha. That wording is difficult for Abaye. Now a kasha is never the end of the world. They'll have to get out of it somehow, the language of the Mishnah. But this is not going to reject Abaye. Abaye is going to stay strong on what he thinks, that the Mishnah is talking about a kuti. Okay. So said that was the second myth. Amar Rava, on this that Abaye said that the mashkiach type of guy who comes in and out, shows up one day at a factory, then we don't see him for a few weeks, comes again. So you, Abaye, said that this ideally is not good, right? Abaye said ideally it's someone watching them. If the guy was in and out, and then that's already post facto. That's plan B. Plan A is you got to be there. So says Rava, is that really true? Going in and out is not good. V'hatanan, we have a guy has a wine store. You leave a non-Jew, let's say an idolater, non-Jew too, in your wine stores. Aren't you worried if he touches that wine and has not been cooked? That just prohibited the wine for everybody. So, and yet we say, as long as you come in and out, you could assume that the non-Jew did not touch it because when the guy doesn't know when you're coming, so he'll get fired if he's found pouring himself a nice glass. So okay, and yet, but we say it's mutter. It sounds like ideally it's fine. So says the Gemara, no, Hasam mikatani. Oh, so we're still in the proof. Hasam mikatani meiniach. It doesn't say over there, he left him. It says hameniach, the one who leaves him. It sounds like you can leave him ideally and leave and come back. It's fine. So mikatani maniach, hamaniach katani. Oh, one sec. Sorry, this is the answer. Sorry. It doesn't say meiniach, you should do it. It says hameniach, one who did it. One who left him, then it's going to be permitted. So that's diavad. So that is post fact. That is b'diavad. That's not our plan A. That's plan B. So that's not a good proof because hamaniach sounds like one who left him, but lechatchila you shouldn't leave him and go in and out. You should stay there. Says Rava. Okay, I have another problem. Another Mishnah. Elamei hacha ein hashomer tzarich lios yoshev u'mishamer. This is also over there in Avodah Zarah that you put up a shomer to guard the wine. So we say the guard of the wine, ein hashomer tzarich lios yoshev u'mishamer. The shomer does not need to be sitting and watching. Even if he comes in and out, it's permitted. So this sounds like it's plan A. You can leave a guard with the wine, but listen, he can go take a coffee break and come back. It's fine. So there's no wording of this Mishnah that implies anything about plan B. Sounds like plan A, you can have the guard go in and out. So you, Abai, said that akuti, slaughtering, is if the Yisrael, if the Jew is in and out, it's no good. I see from this Mishnah that coming in and out is good. So based off that, Rava gives a third interpretation of our Mishnah. Elam Rava Hakikatan Hakol Shoktin, ever new slaughters, implying ideally, Vafilu Kuti, even a Kuti. Okay, so not so different than Abaye. However, when is it ideal for the Kuti to slaughter? B'medvar mamurim kishi Yisrael yotze v'nichnas. As long as the Jews going in and out of the slaughterhouse, you can have the Kuti slaughter. Aval, what happens if he comes and he finds that it slaughters? Aval bo matzo sheshachat. He comes and he finds that the slaughtering already occurred. What do? Then he agrees. Chotech kazayis basar v'nosein lo. You cut off a piece of meat and you give it to the kuti. And once again, achlo, if he eats it, mutter. Lecho mishchitaso, lo achlo, also lecho mishchitaso. If he refuses to eat it, then you know that it's not a good slaughtering, because even he's stringent on these laws. According to Rava, the Mishnah continues, except for a deaf, mute, deranged, and a minor, they, even if a Jew's in and out, they cannot slaughter. Why? They're not so confident in how to slaughter. They might wait too long. They might push too hard, or they might cut under the pipes. The kula. Okay, so that's and then the fourth part of the Mishnah. Once again, this statement: anybody who slaughters, as long as we're watching them, it's good. So what is that going on? What's that modifying? The kulan sheshaktu ahai. On which part of the Mishnah is that last statement going on? So once again, if it's going on that statement directly preceding it, then it shouldn't say v'kulan. It should continue the sentence that if they do it, so if you're talking about the deranged, the minor, the deaf, the deranged, and the minor, so then the Mishnah should say, and if they do it, and it'll be a continuation of the sentence, then it's going to be good. But it doesn't say that. It starts again. And anybody who slaughters, so Ella Akuti, it must be going on the first part of the Mishnah. Now, once again, the last part of the Mishnah says, and anybody who slaughters and the Jews watching them, so then it's okay. So this doesn't make any sense. The Rava said that a Jew does not need to be standing there watching. He can be in and out. And that's ideal. So the last part of the Mishnah says, and if a Jew's standing there watching them, not in and out, if he's standing watching them, then b'diavad, it's okay. Post facto, it's good. What do you mean? You don't even need a Jew to be there all the time. As long as he's in and out, it's fine. So Ella akuti, but ha'amers afil yotiv niklas shakin lechatchila. You told me that even if a Jew goes in and out, does not need to be there all the time. It's still going to be good, even ideally. So that last part of the Mishnah is kasha, is difficult on Rava. One then not rejecting Rava, difficult on Rava. He'll have to find a way out. Okay, that is the third opinion. Fourth opinion, Rav Ashi Amar. Hakikatani. This is what the Mishnah means. Hakol shokin. Anybody who slaughters, ideally, even ideally, avafilu yisrol mumar. Even a Jew who's a mumar. So literally a mumar is someone who threw off his Judaism. He literally means rebels. He's a Jew who rebels. The question is, there's different kinds of rebellions. There's rebellions where you just have lust. It's not a philosophical reason why it's not that you don't believe in God. It's just the other life is more convenient for me. This life is too restrictive. I wanna indulge, and what can I do? So that's a yisrael. That's called that. It's a mumar l'teyava. He's one who rejects, but he did it for his own pleasure. So we ask mumar l'mai. Which kind of rejection did this guy that the Mishnah is talking about? Who are we talking about? So it says the Gemara, it's a mumar lechol nevelos l'teyavon. That it's a person. It's a person. Yeah, he decides he's going to eat nevelos l'teyavon. He's going to eat even non-slaughtered meat, to fill his desire. So Rashi points out that that basically it's somebody that if you found him kosher meat, he'll happy to go to the J. That doesn't reject the J. He's happy to go there. The question is when he can't find kosher meat, what do you do? So he'll eat it because he just likes it a lot. Right. Thursday through Monday, exactly. Yeah, very good. Wednesday through Monday. He'll go next door to whatever seafood delights. But on Tuesday he'll go to the J. So if you give him a knife to slaughter properly, then he'll do it. So this is Rav Ashi, and Rav Ashi is going like another opinion of Rava, Ukid Rava, the Amar Rava Yisrael Mumar Ochel Nevelas L'Teyavon. Yisrael Mumar, who eats unslaughtered meat, unproperly slaughtered meat, L'Teyavon, for his own enjoyment. Next page. What do you do with that guy? You should be bodek his sakin, v'nosin lo. You could check the knife. Make sure the knife is a good knife for shchita. V'nosin lo, and you can give him the knife. Umuter lecho mishchitaso, and you can eat from his shchita, no problem. Aval lo badak, if you didn't check the knife, and then you gave him the knife, nasan lo, so then lechatchila, this is the next part of the Mishnah, he shall not slaughter. Im shacha, but if he does slaughter with a knife that you did not check ahead of time, so what do? Bodek sakino acharav. You now check the knife after the fact. So nimtza sakino yafem mutlachol mishkitaso. If the knife post facto, you look at it like, oh, you know what, this is actually a good knife. This is a good shchita knife. So then that's fine. The imlav asur lachol mishkitaso. But if not, you're prohibited. So according to Rav Ashi, the Mishnah that kol shok, anybody can slaughter, even a mumar l'teyavon, even a Jew who likes to eat non-slaughtered meat to fulfill his own desires. If you give him a knife that's checked ahead of time, lechatchila, you can go and he'll slaughter the meat for you. If you didn't check it and he slaughters, and then you check the knife, and then it's good, you could still eat from that shchita. That's the second part of the Mishnah. Third part of the Mishnah, except for a deranged, definitely deranged and a minor, that even if you check the knife, doesn't matter. That field you have nami, why? Because maybe they pushed, maybe they crushed, maybe they slaughtered in the wrong area under the pipes. The kulon, now once again, the sticky part of the Mishnah. The last line sounds like we're starting a new sentence. And anybody who slaughters, as long as the Jews watch them, you're good to go. So what's that going on? Once again, Elam, if you tell me it's going on the part directly preceding it, that's what it's going on. So use the phraseology, and if you slaughter, not in anybody who slaughters, sounds like you're starting a new sentence. Ella, what you can tell me it's going on the first part of the Mishnah, because who else are we talking about? Ella a Yisrael Mumar. It's going on a Yisrael Mumar, on a Jew who likes to eat the non-slaughtered meat for his own desires. So now, dipadak sakin. Well, what's the case? That a Jew's watching them. If you check the knife, so then if you gave him a checked knife, so then you don't have to be watching him. He can ideally slaughter it. And if you didn't give him a check knife, so then you check it afterwards. Ida isay lesakin livdike hashta. If he's there with a knife, so go check it. V'ida leisay lesakin, and if you don't have the knife here to check, he left and he took his knife with him. So just as others are watched the shchita, that's not going to help you. Maybe the knife wasn't good. Dilma besakin paguma shachit. Maybe he checked it with a what's it called? The nicked knife. Yeah, I mean, it has to be. These knives are very, very smooth. It's like easiest cut. It's nicked at all. So then that's going to be a problem. So the last part of the mission that says if a Jew is watching him, it's going to be good. How does that fit in to a Jew who threw off his Judaism because he wants to eat nevelos? The problem here is not about a Jew watching. The problem is, was the knife good or not? So if you check beforehand, ideally you're good to go. If you checked afterwards, post facto, you're good to go. If the knife's not here, the fact that you watched him is irrelevant, because the question is, was the knife good or not? So that's a kasha on Rav Ashi. So there's the fourth opinion. We had Rabbah, we had Abaye, Rava, and now Rav Ashi, fourth opinion. And that last part of the mission remains a difficulty. Okay, so that is the fourth opinion. Now, yeah, Ravina, fifth opinion. Ravina Amar, this is how you read the Mishnah. Hakol Shoktin, anybody gets slaughtered. So we're talking about somebody who knows the laws, but he hasn't actually slaughtered 3 animals yet. Well, so he learned all about it, right? The guy learned, he's in medical school for a long time, right? But he hasn't done the surgery yet. Yeah, exactly. YouTube. And he goes and does a surgery. So, right, so he goes and does a shchita. So is it good or not good? And there's a regular Jew. Hakol shochten. Hakol shochten means hakol mumchen. Shochten mumchen v'yafal pi she'ein muchzakin. The slaughterers that are experts in the laws, even though they're not, they have not had experience at slaughtering 3 animals. So now, b'med varamurim sheyodenbo. We know sheyodeh that he knows lomar hilchos shchita. We know that he knows this stuff. We were there. He's already given 50 classes, a whole year curriculum on how to shchita properly. So, aval ein yodenbo sheyodeh. But if we don't know that he knows sheyodeh lomar hilchos shchita, so then ideally lo yishchot. Obviously, don't slaughter. V'im shachat. If he did slaughter, so now both can know. Now you check him. You give him a test, like to get into yeshiva. So you show up and you ask him questions. Im yodei lomar hilchos shchita. So then mutar lechem shchita. So if he answers all your questions properly, where do you find this? Where do you find that? What's it like? What do you do afterwards? You ask him all detailed questions, step by step, how you do your shchita and everything. Yeah, exactly. Pastor, exactly. Yeah. Then you can eat from his shchita. The imlav aser. Presumably, you have to ask him, questions that will, that will really test his slaughtering knowledge, not just his general knowledge. But if he doesn't pass the test, then it's prohibited to eat from his food. So that is the second part of the Mishnah, the post facto case. So, third part of the Mishnah, even post facto, it's not going to be good. Shema Yishu, Shema Yishu, Shema Yachlidu. Because they might have, it's a funny case because it's like, it jumps from someone who knows the halachas, like a deranged person. Like obviously, they don't know the halachas. But there, no matter what happens, even if you test them afterwards, I guess, even if you test them, and I guess the katan is easier, the minor, right? You could have a 12-year-old kid who knows his stuff. That's not crazy. So it doesn't matter. I feel the Yavad Nami low because still they might have pushed too hard. They waited too long. They pushed too hard, or they slaughtered under the pipes. Okay, so that's the third part. The kulan sheshakta. Once again, the fourth part, like a new sentence. Anybody who does it, if a Jew's watching them, it's good to go. Well, what's that going on? It's going on that sentence. So the im shakta mibayle. It should say, and if you slaughtered, not and anybody who slaughters. That's a new sentence. Ella, it must be going on the first part of the Mishnah. Ashe'ein mumchen bebotchen also. Ella ashe'ein mumchen. About a case where the guy's not an expert yet. So once again, it all depends on your testing him, not you watching him. So bebotchen also sagi. It's testing him. That's the primary part. So we say delay se lekamon delivdiki. So here, the first time, it's not a problem. That the reason why you can't test him because he's not around anymore. So now we say, but if someone was there watching him, who knows his stuff, and he was watching, so right, all the medical students they have a supervisor, they have the expert doctor watches how they do things. So this guy had an expert watch him do it. Now the slaughterer is not around anymore, so you can't test him. So as long as someone watched him, so that's going to be good to go. So that is the fifth. Rabba, Abaye, Rava, Rav Ashi, and Ravina. Thank you. Now, the Igi the Army, some say, so it's like 5b, that because we're still in Ravina. Igi the Army, Ravina Amar Haki Katani. This is what Ravina meant to say. Some have a different version of Ravina. Hakol Shoktin, anybody who slaughters, means Hakol Muchzakin. Shoktin. Muchzakin Hafal Pish Ein Mumkin. Here's the opposite problem. They can slaughter perfectly. They just don't know all the laws. You show them what to do and they do it. So they know how to do it, how to implement, but they don't know the behind the scenes. So a person knows that on Shabbos you could do X and Y and Z with the cholent pot, and you can't do other things. They don't know why, but you can't use your dishes, your dairy dishes for your milk. Why exactly? We're not sure, but we just know that you can't do that. So this case they lechatchila could slaughter. So now, what makes them an expert or someone who's muchzak, who's presumed to be a valid slaughterer? They slaughtered in front of us 2 or 3 times. Now, I don't think the Gemara is going to ask. What do you mean? Is it 2 or 3? It's a big difference. After 2 times, what do you do? I don't know. There is a debate in general. What constitutes what we call a chazaka? What creates a status quo? 2 or 3. There is such a debate, but here it just sounds like 2 or 3. I don't know. I was hoping someone would say something, but don't know. Maybe they do off the books. So yeah. Rash statement? Nope. Yeah. Unless the point is that we're not looking for 3 times per se, maybe even 2 times is enough. 2 or 3 times. So if 2 is enough, why say 3? I don't know. The point is that he did it a number of times and he did it successfully. So so that's how much you need to show. I mean, if you do it 1 time, it's for sure no good. That's not enough to create a status quo that he's a valid shochet. So if he didn't do it 2 or 3 times, lo yishchot. He should not be allowed to slaughter. Shema yis'alef, because he might faint. The worry is not so much that he doesn't know what to do. The worry is he doesn't deal well with blood. There's an official medical term for this when you're seeing a medical procedure and you get grossed out and you faint. One time I had to, I forget what it's called. I had to get on my hand. Of course, it was very blown up. I had to get all the stuff removed from all the pus removed from it. And I sat there watching the guy. Oh. He said, "What are you doing?" I said, "What do you mean? It's a once in a lifetime opportunity." And next thing I know, I woke up with things on me. I was like, "What happened?" They're like, "Oh, you fainted." I'm like, "Oh." So,
because after this about it, I've already done.
Done it once at least, yeah.
As opposed to the book
who's
never done.
That's interesting. That's a very good point. Well, hold on. Hold on. The book learner, before fainting, we have another problem. Does he know what to do? You're saying even if he knows what to do, he might faint. Meaning, even if the guy knows what to do, but he's never done it once before. Interesting. That's a good point. Yeah. That's a good point. Maybe Yeah. Yeah. So I actually think that the Gemara is going to go through why. I was like, well, that was Ravina. That was the other version of Ravina. What was the other one with the also Ravina? It could be that. Yeah. It could be that the Gemara is going to say that the reason why people didn't give Ravina's answer because they weren't worried about fainting. Fainting sounds like it's a gray area. It's not so clear that we worry about it. But either way, so Shemi is Aleph v'im shacha. But if he slaughtered it, v'amar, and he says, Bari li shalonis alafti. Don't worry, it's clear to me. I made it through. I didn't faint. So then that's the second part of our Mishnah. Shchita so is sheira. The shchita is good. Now, third part of the Mishnah, chutz micher shot of a katan, except for a definitely to range in a katan. That field yavid nami. Even if they slaughter it and they don't faint, that it's going to be good to go. It's not a valid shchita. Why? Because maybe they waited, they pushed, or they slaughtered under the pipes. The kulan now, the fourth part of the Mishnah, like a new statement all of a sudden. The kulan sheshach, anybody who slaughters, but Jews watching them, it's good. So what's that going on? On the statement that directly preceded it, on a deaf, a deranged, and a katan, Allah kai. It should have said a different phraseology. If they slaughtered, not a whole new sentence, though, and anybody who slaughters, that's so it sounds like it's going on the first part of the Mishnah. Okay. So Ella Ashe'ena Muhzakin, it's talking about somebody who has not yet done the slaughtering, but knows what to do. So now someone who did already, but he knows how to slaughter, but doesn't know the rules of slaughtering. So who cares who's watching? If a Jew's watching them, the point is he didn't faint. So whether you're watching or not is irrelevant. The Hamer's Bari Li Sagi, as long as he says that I didn't faint, so then you're good to go. So says the Gemara, okay, but the Lacey come under L'Shayle. He left already. He went on to the next activity. He's gone. So you can't ask him if he fainted or not. So now we say that somebody was watching him and they could testify that he didn't faint. So that's good enough for us. Okay, so that was 5b. So that's it. So 6 answers by 5 different people. So now, Ravina, the last one we just had. V'Rabar Ula, the first one. Ke'abaye, v'Rava, v'Rav Ashi lo Amri. So Ravina and Rabbi Bar Ula. So Ravina, what we just said, the person is either knowledgeable but no practice, or practice but less knowledge. For Rabbi Bar Ula is the first opinion that said that it's talking about a person who's impure but tries to keep a level of sanctity. The reason why they didn't hold the other 3 people, Ke'abaye, v'Rava, v'Rav Ashi, lo Amri mishum de kasha hu v'kulan. That last statement that the Gemara said kasha on the 3 people. Well, that was a reason why 1 and 5 didn't say reasons 2, 3, and 4, because that last part of the Mishnah was not resolved according to the middle 3 opinions. So that's why they didn't say that. They didn't give their answers. So now, Kulhu, Kirab Bar Ula Amri, the last 4 people, they did their opinions. They didn't say like the first opinion of an impure person who keeps a level of sanctity. So why not? Why didn't they say like him? So really for 2 reasons. Lo Amri lahach lishna. Why? Because we had a question that we had because the implication of that was that we're also talking about somebody who is impure and slaughtering holy sacrifices. And on that, the Gemara said, you taught that already in Zvachim. So, and then the Gemara said, yeah, but one's primary, one's parenthetical. So they say the reason why they don't want to say like that opinion was the Amr's Hacha Iker. So Adraba Hasam Iker to Bekachim Kai. They said that Rab Bar Ula said our Mishnah is the primary place to teach this halacha, and in Zvachim is parenthetical. They argue and say, no, it's not true. There it's the primary place to teach it, and here it's parenthetical. And but we had 2 opinions on that. According to the other opinion, the Hachlish the Amr's Hasam Iker, that over there is really primary, the Hacha, and here it's parenthetical. The hach I did the Tana Tame Bechul Tanami Tame B'Mekudashim. So, and here it just once it was talking about an impure person keeping a level of sanctity, it threw in an impure person who's slaughtering sacrifices. So according to that opinion that we had yesterday, well, Tame Bechulin Gufe Lo Trichle. These other 4 opinions argue on the whole thing. Why? Because Chulin Shenaso Ataras Kodesh Lav Kekodesh Damu. They argue on the whole premise of that opinion. That opinion held that a impure person who is who keeps a level of sanctity at his house, level A sanctity, because he might come to eat sacrifices at any time, his thank sacrifice, a peace offering, a festival offering. That opinion held that someone who keeps the level of sanctity has to be as strict as if he's dealing with actual sacrifices. The other 4 opinions held that that's not true. That even someone who's keeping that level of sanctity, but we don't require him to keep it that strict. So therefore, they disagree with that whole premise of the first opinion. And therefore, if you're impure, so we're not worried about you slaughtering and touching the animal because it's an animal that you're slaughtering for dinner tonight, not a sacrifice. Okay. So now the first 4 opinions didn't hold of Ravina. Kulu kit Ravina lo Amri. Now we had 2 versions of Ravina. So lahachlish to Amar mumchin, the one that held that he's an expert in the law is the first one, but not in the practical, but not in the actual slaughtering. Why did they not hold of Ravina? Lahachlish to Amar mumchin in she'ein mumchin lo, because they held rov mitzuin eitzel shrita mumchin hein. They held that most people showing up at the slaughterhouse, they know their stuff. What's the case? He knows how to slaughter, but doesn't know the laws. The assumption is that majority of people showing up to slaughter, they also know the laws. So therefore, that explanation of the Mishnah was not a good explanation according to those 4 opinions. What about 5b, the other opinion of Ravina? Lahach lishna de amar muchzakin. It's talking about the first opinion, the first Ravina that said we're talking about people that are knowledgeable. So they're saying you don't have to include people who are knowledgeable in the laws from the word hakol. Most people by Shita are knowledgeable. So when you say someone is slaughtering, it's because he's knowledgeable. You don't have to add in an extra kind of person from hakol shok that is referring to somebody who's knowledgeable. Yes, most people who are showing up at the slaughterhouse are knowledgeable. Now, lahach lishon to amar muchzakin, but according to the other opinion that says hakol comes to include someone who's not knowledgeable, but he has practice. The amar muchzakin in shein muchzakin lo, that someone who has practice you can rely on his shrita, and if he doesn't have practice, then you can't. So, what was Ravina worried about? He was worried about fainting. That the reason why, if he has not yet had enough practice, we're worried he might faint, and that's why the Mishnah specifically states hakol shokten, someone who had experience we trust, no experience we don't trust because we're worried he might faint. The other 4 opinions held alufe lo chayshinan. No, that worry about a guy fainting is too small. I don't know, 30%, 20% chance. We're not really worried about that. So that's why we did not establish the Mishnah in a case where we care about someone fainting or not. So that's why we disagree with 5b. Now, Rava and Abaye were the closest together. Why? They're both talking about a kuti. Just Abaye said a Jew has to be standing over him, overseeing him, lechatchila, and but in and out is b'diavad, is post facto, meaning that's plan B. And Rava said that even coming in and out is fine, ideally. So the question, why didn't they hold of each other? So Rava, who says that a Jew who comes in and out, who's not always there overseeing him, even that ideally is fine. Lo Amar Ke Abaye, who says that no, coming in and out is only plan B, but plan A has to be a Jew always overseeing. So Rava lo amar ke Abaye. Why? Kikusha, because of the kasha that Rava himself asked Abaye. Rava showed from the case of the guard watching the wine to make sure that a non doesn't touch it. That guard does not need to be there 24/7. He can take a coffee break, go for a walk, and come back, and that's fine. So Rava proved to you that even in and out is ideally fine. So that's why Rava didn't hold of Abaye. The question is, why did Abaye not hold of Rava? Abaye la'omer kerava, because hasam lo naga, hacha naga. Abaye says there, the non-Jew, even when the guard goes out, he's not touching the wine. The question is, he might touch the wine, but here in our case, the kuti, of course, he's touching the animal. He's slaughtering the animal. So there we're worried that because we're worried he might quickly push too hard, or he might quickly do the bad shchita. So there, if you miss it for a second, you're risking it. The worry by the wine is you might not touch it. That he might touch it. Okay. So there, he's not touching it now. He might touch it. That Abaye agrees. In and out is fine. But according to in our case, his knife is on the animal. If you're going to turn away, he might quickly slaughter inappropriately, and he's someone who's and therefore we have to be extra careful. Okay, we'll go with Rav Ashi tomorrow. 6:47. What day is today? Today's Thursday, right? Yeah.